After spending 4 years as a student of communication or as a student of public speaking, if you ask this question to me now, that Praveen, is public speaking a skill? I would say no. It's not a skill. The very word skill, when we say we are learning one skill and I want to do this skillfully, the very word skill, if you take any other example of skill, for example, take singing. When we say singing skill, each and everything is well defined in singing, isn't it? Whether you take Indian music, we have swaras. If you take Western music, we have notes. Each and everything is prescribed. So when I sing, I have to sing in a certain way. When I sing in a certain way, it means I am singing skillfully. Agree? Take any other example before you come back to public speaking. Take swimming skill. I enter inside the water and I move my hands in a certain way. I breathe in certain way. I flap my legs in a certain way. I float my body in a certain way. Whether you are swimming in India or swimming in London, doesn't matter. Small boy or some old man, doesn't matter. Swimming is swimming. We have to do it in a certain way. Singing, small boy or someone very old, doesn't matter. Singing is singing. So the very word skill means we have to do in a certain way. In public speaking, what we have to do in a certain way, that we have to go on the stage and we have to do like that only. When I'm doing this, it means I'm doing this public speaking skillfully. What is that? Is there anything? For a moment, if you think that, okay, Praveen, public speaking is not a skill, then what we learn in this? When I say I want to improve my public speaking, I want to learn public speaking. So what exactly we learn? Or do we really learn something here? For that, you have to separate these two words, public and speaking. Keep public aside and let's focus only on speaking. What do you mean by speaking? And is speaking a skill? If you keep the definition same, that it has to be done in a certain way, then everyone has their own unique style of speaking. So because of this, we all can't speak in the same way, in the same manner, the way we sing or the way we dance, correct? Or the way we swim, we can't do that. So everyone is speaking differently. But if you critically observe this word speaking, it has three factors. Observe. If you observe speaking, it has three factors. The factor number one, what is the message I want to convey? Doesn't matter whether you're speaking on the stage or speaking in front of your loved ones, speaking in front of your family members, doesn't matter. What I want to convey. For example, today I want to convey that public speaking is not a skill. That's the message I want to give, what I want to convey. You're sitting with your friends, sitting with your family, and you say, Praveen, I want to speak, but even before I start speaking, I don't know what I want to convey. That is not called speaking, that's chit chatting. It has its own place. It has its own place in conversation, in relationship, in families, that you're just chit chatting and you're talking about this, and then there's no tail, no head, whatever you're speaking, chit chatting. It has its own place. We are not there today. We are talking about speaking. You speak with a purpose. Unless and until you don't learn how to speak with the purpose with your loved ones, with your close family members, because the way you will speak, the way you speak, that only defines your relationship or quality of your relationships. Agree? So, first factor is whenever I am speaking, am I clear what I want to convey? Whether the other person will agree, disagree, like it, not like it, that is all secondary. Whether you will agree, disagree today, whether public speaking is a skill or not a skill, that is secondary. Am I clear what I want to convey? That is primary. That is something which we have to first think. Am I clear what I want to convey? So, yes, I'm clear today that I want to convey to you that I think after spending 4 years as a student of communication, I think that public speaking is not a skill because we cannot do it in a very prescribed way, the same way like we do other skills. So, first, what you want to convey. Second, the language. Understand, speaking means giving access to other people to your content. Whatever content you have in your mind, you're actually giving access to other members, listeners. Now, these listeners could be your family members, or listeners could be your bosses, or seniors, or juniors, or 10,000 people, or doesn't matter who they are, but you're giving access to what you think about that topic. And the only way to bridge this link and make this accessible, there's no other way, is a language. You have to use the language which other person can understand, number one. At the same time, you have to use the language in such a way that other person is comfortable with that language. It should not happen that other person's attention is more on language than what you want to convey, which happens in India many times, especially when we are so obsessed with this language called English. Many people, they say at workplace, they have content, they want to speak, but because their language is not good, they are not able to speak effectively. So you have to have command on language, doesn't matter English, whichever language you use, whichever language. When I say command, you are using that language without even thinking twice in your mind that, okay, this is the language, this is the content, let me use this language, the other person can understand the language, and let me give access of my content to him or her with the help of this particular language. Second factor in speaking. The third factor in speaking is time. What do you mean by that? You might have observed there are some people, they start and they don't end only. And then you feel, hey, why are you stretching this point? I've understood. Why you are giving me so many examples? I've understood. Now, it all depends upon what you want to convey. When we participate in World Champion of Public Speaking, we get only 7 minutes to convey a point. And if you listen to few speeches, 7 minutes, they can blow your mind. They can change your beliefs within 7 minutes. So they are very effectively conveying what they want to convey in 7 minutes, or sometimes even 5 minutes. I remember when I was practicing for one TEDx talk, and I asked the TEDx organizer that, do you know why this TEDx organizer, they insist only 18 minutes of talk? Why not 30 minutes or 35 minutes? And that lady, she looked towards me and she said, Praveen, if one can't deliver a message in 18 minutes, you can't deliver in 18 hours also. So time. Whenever we speak, we should be very clear that you have to end that point. Whether you want to end in 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, you decide, but you have to end that point. So many times people do not stop speaking unless and until the other person is not interrupting that person. We think that unless and until other person is not interrupting, it means that till that point, other person has not understood, or not, maybe only after interruption only I will stop. Or no, doesn't happen like that. That's not good speaking. So the third factor in speaking, not public speaking, in speaking is time. So we have content, the message which you want to convey. We have language, which actually give access to the listener of your content. At the same time, we have time. Now tell me, unless and until you don't do this in your real life, in your day-to-day life, in your work, at your workplace, in your family discussion, unless and until you're not speaking like this in your daily routine, which is speaking, how can you do that in front of public? Because when you are in front of public, they also expect the same thing. First, they expect from you, be clear what you want to convey. Number one. Second, they expect from you, make sure you're using the language so it's easy for us to understand. Third, they say, do it within the time, we are busy. But unless and until you're not practicing this speaking in front of your loved ones, in one to one discussion, how can you do that in front of public? So there is no skill like public speaking. There is a skill like speaking. When I say skill, I'm talking about in a very clean, clear way, give the message in the correct language at the same time in the given time. That's a skill. You should learn that. But public speaking is not a skill. Rather, public speaking is a habit. You learn speaking skills and you go again and again in front of public and then you speak. One can say that public speaking is a habit. I'm going again and again and speaking. But if you don't know how to speak in your day to day life, you cannot speak in front of public. Develop the skill in your day to day life and develop the habit of speaking in front of public. These are two different things. So, to be very precise answer to this question, that is public speaking is a skill? No, not at all. It's a habit. Speaking is a skill. This is Prem Udaka signing out until we meet again.